This season on the Jess podcast, we are in Shalom season. We're asking honest questions about what it means to live with that kind of peace. We'll explore peace in our minds, in our bodies, in our homes, in our marriages, and even in the complicated spaces of motherhood and community. I'm so glad you're here. This is Shalom season. Let's go. Friends, it is Shalom season. This season on the Jess podcast, we are talking about biblical peace and what it looks like to walk in biblical peace in different parts of your life. And today we have a special episode with my mom, Deb Hopper, for Mother's Day week. So my mom is not only an incredible mom, not only an incredible nanny, she's about to be a G nanny, a great grandmother, and also she is the nonprofit founder of Seen Moms, which is an incredible organization that serves single moms right where they're at. You're going to love this episode. And here's my disclaimer. If you're not a mom or if you're not a mom yet, you're still going to love this episode. It's about victory. It's about peace and chaos. And it's about authority in any season you're in. Mom, welcome back to the podcast.
So glad to be here.
It's so good to have you. I do feel like you're so far away.
Yeah?
Yeah. Over all the cords.
Yeah.
I know. Cheers.
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 Yes.
Hey, friends. Listen, I brought you today my favorite mother. My mother. Everybody's favorite mother. I do feel like you're everybody's favorite mother. And we're talking this season about Shalom season. We're talking about biblical shalom and what peace actually looks like. And really we're talking about this idea that like peace is present even in chaos, that supernaturally, we get to experience peace through the power of the Holy Spirit, even when there is pain present. And I feel like with that starting, would you give us the landscape of your motherhood? Maybe I'm thinking especially the early years with me and Katie, because it wasn't necessarily a chill road. It wasn't necessarily like your ideal, what would have been your ideal. Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit of what it looked like? And if you're being too humble, I'll fill in the blanks.
Okay. I became a mother at 25.
Okay. I don't even think I knew that number.
With Katie.
Yeah.
And had tried for a few years early in this marriage, but didn't get pregnant for about 3 years. So 25. And then had you at 28. And life was full and fast. I was a working mom.
Yeah.
So always in the workforce after about 6 weeks of maternity leave.
Yeah.
And although when I had you, I tried to do some other part-time jobs because I felt like I needed more time at home, but just wasn't financially possible.
Uh-huh.
Your dad was a teacher. We were living a really moderate life. And then about 10 years into my marriage, we divorced, separated for a few years first, and then officially divorced. So you and Katie were 3 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not 10 years. 10 years into my marriage, but you were 3 and 6.
Yeah.
When we separated. And that was the beginning of 8 years of rocky roads for me. Was not what I had planned for my life, not what I visioned.
Yeah.
As a way to be a mother, a parent. Did not see that as more of a single role than a partnered role.
Yeah.
So, it introduced some rocky terrain for a little while.
So I don't think I've ever really asked you this, but 1987, what's the feeling, stigma, culture, even with your friends and your community around becoming a single mom? Did it feel like now? How did it feel?
Yeah, there was a stigma and there was a lot of disappointment from my end because of our family background. I was the first one to walk through a divorce in our family.
Yeah.
We had a very stable, marriage-based, generational family.
Yeah.
So, but in the late 80s, at that season, there were more separations and divorces happening.
Yeah.
In our church, in our community. So that part wasn't, so unknown, but it was unknown to me and unexpected for me.
Yeah.
So probably the stigma that I carried myself, a little bit of that, this is not what I had planned for my life, had to wrestle that with God.
Mm-hmm.
It a bumpy road.
Yeah.
For all those things.
Okay. What else? What were some of the other like challenges or roadblocks? You can be vulnerable. You can be honest. And if you won't, I will. Yeah. It's fine.
Okay.
We were bad kids.
Well, you were acting out some of your emotions and feelings.
We were not easy children.
Oh, I wouldn't say that you were not easy, but
well,
you were acting out, and I was a single parent, effectively working full-time plus. Yeah. My career started, growing, and God was blessing us financially through that.
Yeah.
So I traveled a lot, had parents nearby who helped and friends who pitched in, but still you were latchkey kids.
Yeah.
And summer times, and other times after school, it was a thing.
Yeah. We were hard kids too. So there's that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing I want to highlight for people, because I think a lot of us, like in motherhood, like we come into it with everybody. I say this all the time to all of my friends. Like we all come in with this idea of like what we think it's going to look like. And the picture always dies. Like it always dies. But for some people, it dies really early. Like for some people, the picture of like how easy it's going to be or how sweet it's going to be, or, how it's going to be 1 + 1 = 2. Like for some people, I feel like that begins to like crumble in pregnancy, or like, if they find out their baby has some kind of a health concern that they're going to have to deal with their whole lives, or, for some of them it comes like a little bit later on. And then I think for some of them, like maybe it doesn't even come until their kids are grown that they realize like, okay, this is maybe not what I pictured, right. But it breaks at some point. But I feel like probably some of your pieces broke earlier. And the part that I want to highlight is, especially as a woman who loved God and feared the Lord and wanted to walk with God, and all of a sudden was a single mom, and then also had kids that weren't following God, that didn't want God, that was probably very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. So you're talking about
teenage years, a little
preteen and teenage years.
Yeah.
When again, I think, you were acting out some of your emotions of, I don't want that life. I want this kind of life. Even at an early age, you were both trying to figure out who you were as young girls.
Yeah.
And searching and seeking and maybe doing some crazy things.
Yeah. What did peace look like in that season for you? Like, do you have any memories of like, man, okay, this helped, or this served me, or I'm just curious.
Yeah. I had strong support in my church community and friends and family.
Yeah.
And that helped a lot. People that I trusted, people that could be honest with me when I was stuck.
Yeah.
Or when I didn't know, which way to turn.
Yeah.
They could sit across from the table or the room, or even the singers group that I was in were some of my dearest friends. And we shared a lot during those years. They helped us move several times. Yeah. But they also were able to say to me, get out of this pit, or you need to do this, or maybe have you tried this? While also just being very loving and just, having me over on a rare Christmas night when I didn't have you girls.
Yeah.
So those things really helped in that terrain, in that season.
So good. It's so interesting. We were talking a couple of weeks ago on the podcast about Jesus and the Garden of Gethsemane, and like how he experienced anguish and torment and fear, and like still was the Prince of Peace. But one thing I think about is like the way he embodied that and even like cultivated that was asking his friends to stay up with him and pray, that like Jesus knew like community is part of what brings peace in the midst of chaos.
100%.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. Okay. I'm curious what I have my own like kind of, like glittering gilded memories, but like, I'm curious what you and the Lord was like, what you and the Lord were like in that season.
Yeah. I really, had a reawakening of my faith.
Yeah.
Once I was on my own and I knew it was me and God. And also I had sometimes that you weren't with me. So I was able to explore more. I went to a variety of churches, and just anytime I was so spiritually hungry. And so I tried to use those times to read, to go to conferences. I went to Joyce Meyer, Beth Moore, all the conferences with girlfriends when I wasn't parenting.
Yeah.
And those began to like spark something in me that the Lord wanted to do to like bring me closer to him, because I didn't feel like at that point that he really was my husband and the father to you guys. But over time that muscle grew and he became everything to me. So I had known the Lord since I was 16, but I had kind of moved away from him during college.
Yeah.
Still would say I was a believer, but I was not really seeking hard after him in those years or in that marriage.
Yeah.
But then once it was just me, and then it was me and God, I was like, oh, that's what needs to fill this hole.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that lasts.
Yeah.
He is the only thing.
So good. Okay. Will you kind of talk through practically and logistically what it looked like for you to seek the Lord? Because I do think your spiritual disciplines and your spiritual rhythms are so close to you that I don't even sometimes realize, like, I grew up watching you do them, and so they became so normative for me. But I feel like there might be a lot of women who didn't have mothers like showing them this is what it looks like to seek the Lord on a daily basis while also maybe working or having kids. Will you talk through a little bit of like what those rhythms looked like in those years?
Yeah. So I do think we all struggle with finding time and feeling like our lives are so full. And especially during those years, I know you've asked me a couple of times, like, when did you ever do laundry?
Literally. Yeah.
And it was, usually at 10 o'clock at night when you were in bed. But times with the Lord, became my anchor. And really in the car, I had a 45-minute commute to work after I would drop y'all off in the mornings. And so a lot of tapes, cassette tapes, we didn't even have, Apple Play or anything.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of like just putting in a study, putting in a Bible study, and then journaling it that night, like thinking on it all day, like, and also songs have always spoken to me. So whether it was a hymn or a song that I heard or something that I listened to at a conference, then I would like drill that down later in my journal. And that's generally how God would speak to me, through a scripture, in a song, and then in his word. And so I did journal a lot. I started writing my Bible for the first time, because people before that didn't write in their Bibles.
Right.
That
was like irreverent.
Taboo. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have several Bibles from those decades that are written all in the margins and underlined, which is not something I do as much now.
Yeah.
But for that season, that became my journal.
Yeah.
Those Bibles became my journal. But I have many journals.
Yes.
That you've seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. I'm just curious, like, how would you say your actual like practice of spending time with the Lord has changed now in this season? Because is it that different, or is it like does it feel mostly the same?
It's mostly the same, except I have more time.
Yeah.
And, but the same hunger and the same, it's generally, I can go for a couple of days. So my daily rhythm is to like sit with the Lord, but I can go a couple of days without journaling.
Yeah.
And then I realize something's broken. Something's empty. Something's not working.
Yeah.
And so because words are a way for me to get that out, then I pour that out in words to God, and then I ask him for help. And then it usually like binds that up. His word is always good to like smooth the rough surfaces.
Yeah.
But I still, I would love to say, I have an hour with the Lord every morning, because I have all the time in the world, but I don't.
Yeah. It's so funny. I'm the exact same way about journaling. Like, I'm almost always going to do my gratitude list, and I'm almost always going to study the Bible a little bit, but I won't journal every day. Like, I won't actually just like write out my thoughts.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of days, I'll be laying in bed before like my alarm goes off and I'll think I need to get up and journal. My head's a mess. Like I know that that's the thing.
That's what does it.
Yeah. That's really sweet. Hey friends, as you probably know, the Dwell Bible audio app has changed my life. I talk about it all the time to anyone who listens, and it is an incredible way to encounter God's word when you're on the go. I want to speak specifically to any moms listening. I had the honor of getting to write and create a 5-day audio devotional for mothers called Mothering as a Daughter of God. But I wanted to tell you there's another great 7-day audio Bible reading plan from Jessica Haddon that talks about motherhood as the path of abundance, not away from it. Both of these are fun resources. If you're not a mom, you're still going to love the Dwell Audio Bible app. And there are tons of plans with all different purposes and different themes. You're going to love one, or you might just love listening straight through the Bible. Go to dwellbible.com/Jess to get a discount on your subscription. Picture this. You, me, several hundred other women from literally all over the world. We come together despite our differences, in light of our differences, with a heart to see our fear transformed into kingdom courage. We come from different places and different backgrounds and different ideas with one goal. We want to worship and learn under the banner of the kingdom. I'm inviting you with my whole heart to Brave 2026. It is a gathering of kingdom women to be sent out in a courageous commissioning. I've pulled together my favorite Bible teachers, my favorite leaders, the women who help me live in kingdom courage the best. And we're going to come together for 2 days of worship and teaching and community and encouragement. And I would love to invite you there. You can go to brave2026.us or see the link in today's show notes to grab your ticket. But wait, there's more. If you pre-order a copy of my new book, You Can't Be Brave Until You're Scared, you will get a discount to your Brave 2026 ticket. This book is all about the Lord using our fear to form us into women of kingdom courage. And so pre-order the book, get the discount, meet us at Brave 2026. As you know, it's Shalom season, and she's a cozy girl. I love a cozy thing. What I'd like to talk to you now is about Cozy Earth, which is whose pajamas I'm literally wearing right now. Here's the thing. In so many of these episodes in Shalom season, we've talked about having a powerful nighttime routine. We've talked about the way you go to bed and how it feels. We've talked about Shalom in your home, actually cultivating peace in your home so you can live a brave life outside of your home. And I want to tell you guys that if I could boss you around just a little bit, I would say you need pajamas you love. You need pajamas you love. You don't need 10 pairs, but you need 1 or 2 great pairs of very soft pajamas you love. But here's the thing. When you get the Cozy Earth pajamas, then you're going to want the Cozy Earth sheets, because you're going to want to think like, oh, this is so soft. Now I need the sheets. And that's actually what happened to me. I got the pajamas and then I needed the sheets. This is the thing though. Cozy Earth does have a 100-night trial. So you get them. And if you do not like them in 100 nights, they will refund you. I have literally grown to love these products so much because there really is something about cultivating some coziness in your life so that you can live brave and wild and free and abundant outside of the house. So you can take the comfort where you need it so that you can maybe be uncomfortable and bring peace out in the world. So if you go to CozyEarth.com, you can use code Jess for up to 20% off. Get the jammies. You can get whatever color you want. You don't have to get green. They have lots of beautiful colors. Get some sheets. Get whatever bedding you might need. Find other products that also help you cultivate Shalom in your home. Go to CozyEarth.com and use the code Jess. Okay, here's where I want to go next.
Okay.
Are you ready? Okay. So one thing that I think maybe like grandmothers get a bad reputation for, which you're not a grandmother, you're a nanny, very different, you know.
About to be great.
That's right. Do you have a great grandmother name?
I think it's Nani G or G Nani.
Oh, G Nani. I love
But that may be
G Nani.
That may be too many syllables for little baby that's coming.
I love G Nani. So cute. I cannot believe we are about to have another generation in this
so fun
family.
Yeah.
Wow. Wowzers. Okay. One thing I think that grandmothers and G Nannies maybe get a bad reputation about is like having a lot of advice. Like, and it's so interesting. I was speaking at an event the other day and they did like a Q&A, and this one woman who was like maybe your age, maybe a little older, raised her hand. And she was like, I have a question for you. She was like, I was speaking on rest, and she was like, I like always want to tell my daughter to rest better. Like I feel like she goes so fast and her pace is so fast. And she was like, I always like want to help her, but like I don't want to shame her, and like I don't want to bother her or nag her. And I was like, lady, I know it. Don't I know it? Like, don't I know my mom wants to say the same thing to me? But I feel like you have done such a good job, like not offering advice unless you're asked, or like, you know, just you're so gracious and compassionate. But if I gave you free reign and I was like, listen, you're talking to the next generation of moms. Maybe we have kids my age. Maybe it's moms who are just having kids right now. If I was like, what would you really want to tell us about how, especially about maybe how we're like losing our peace or giving up our peace, or not even just like maintaining or cultivating it well. What would you say about this season of motherhood?
Yeah. I was just thinking about this yesterday because, you know, we have a granddaughter who's about to give birth, and I've watched her through pregnancy, and she's got a little bit different model of what she is going to be as a mother.
Yeah.
And then I thought about all the models that we all have, and I just think that's the most sound advice for any new mom, any existing mom, current mom, or mom going into a new season is like, be your own model.
Yeah.
Find out how God has wired you to be a mother.
That's really good.
And don't, you know, the tendency is to compare, even like when I had you and I felt like I've got to be a stay-at-home mom because I have 2 children now.
Yeah.
And yet I wasn't really wired to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the flexibility to do that.
Right.
But I felt some guilt and tried to seek it for a little while, and then found out it wasn't going to work. And that's just one example. But, you know, there's so many varieties of parenting and mothering. And I think if we look to the right or to the left, we're going to swing from how God wired and created us.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to lean into that for the next generation.
That's
too.
good.
And I even texted her last night that I was watching Victoria again, the series Victoria. And, you know, Victoria was a very different model of mother. She had 9 children.
Yeah.
And I was reading a little bit about her biography to see if they depicted it right in this series. And they did.
Wow.
She had some wounds from her childhood, but she didn't want to nurse.
Yeah.
She didn't really want hands-on parenting.
Yeah.
She was born to rule a monarchy. And, you know, she settled into what was comfortable for her, but she had to kind of go against the grain for a while.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't what was expected in the Victorian age.
Yeah.
So I just, in hindsight, I wish I would have done that easier and quicker. Yeah. Rather than waiting a while to find my groove.
Yeah.
But also, I think it would alleviate a lot of stress and anxiety that we all carry. Yeah. If we would just settle into how God's wired and made us to be a mother.
That's so good. I think some of the like least peaceful seasons in motherhood for me have been when I've been trying to be a mom I'm not. Yeah. We all know my, you know, rest in peace season of trying to be like barefoot pregnant and make bread and like mill my own flour. That was really probably the most stressed I ever was.
A situation.
Trying to make my own soap, trying to make my own yogurt. What else did I try to do? I mean, I was like, this was before trad wives were called trad wives, and before they were cool. I thought that is who I was supposed to be. And the thing is, I love Diet Coke, and that's who I am. Yeah. That's who God made me to be. Okay.
You were so cute trying to do it.
I don't know if I actually was that cute.
You never were ugly. You were cute trying to do it.
I'm sure I was ugly. In fact, I'm sure I was like, everybody should be natural like me. But I really didn't even want to be all that natural, which was funny. So yeah, that's really good. Is there anything else regarding like any just like even maybe permission slips you'd want to give moms right now to like hand them some peace? Like, I feel like you're so good at this. Your motto, you have the best motto for us. I think you need to maybe hand that to the daughters of God right now.
Which one? Because
you don't have to make it. You just have to make it happen. Yeah.
Right.
That's your best motto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was take one thing off your calendar every day.
That also really helps.
Yeah.
Those are two things you told me, but talk about the concept of you don't have to make it, you just have to make it happen.
Yeah. Again, I finally realized that I was not the baking bread wife, mom person.
Yeah.
It's just not my strong suit. As a matter of fact, I can't bake at all. I do like to cook, but baking is a science and I'm not exact.
Yeah.
So I had to let that go.
Yeah.
But I do love to entertain. I love to host. I love to have people in the home. I love to have people around the table.
Yeah.
But does that mean that I always bake a meal or cook? No. But sometimes I do.
Yeah.
Just because there are a few things I can do.
Yeah.
But I've learned that you can make it happen in a variety of ways.
Yeah.
Whether it's using paper plates or whether it's getting something, that's pre-made.
Yeah.
And pop it in the oven.
So good.
The how that it gets there is not the core of the happiness. The piece of happiness is the time around the table for me.
Yeah. I think something I haven't realized that I love about that phrase, you don't have to make it, you just have to make it happen, is that you just have to make it happen, because you're not saying that as like a punishment, but I do think you do a really good job of acknowledging, especially with me and Katie as moms, like, hey, some of this is up to you. And I think you model that really well. Like we always say, you're just the queen of holidays. And like, there's so much even like holiday momming that we don't have to do because you do it so well. But I feel like there's some honor in you acknowledging, like, you're not ever like, hey, don't worry about it. Like, to just let it all go to the wayside. You're like, well, your kids need Christmas. So
right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to be fantastic. It doesn't have to be 8 million gifts, but like, you're the mother of the house. There's something to cultivate here. Yeah. You're going to have to make it happen. But I feel like there are a lot of women who like maybe want to even pretend that like pressure or responsibility or invitation or authority isn't real, but like it is. Yeah. It is actually. And like we can see it as a beautiful privilege, and we can move into it with that. But like, I love that you acknowledge like, yeah, we're going to be the ones to do this. Yeah. We're going to set the temperature. We're going to set the tone. Yeah.
We have to light the candles.
We got to light the candles. It's biblical. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Come on. Okay. But then yes, you will also tell me, just take one thing off your plate.
Yeah.
What's one thing you can take off your plate today? If I ever call you crying or overwhelmed or stressed, but then there's something else that you tell me. This has become a formative practice for me, is that you'll say, what are your top 2 to 3 priorities for the day? And like, can you name those and only do those? That's really helped me a ton too. Anything else? Any other pieces of like permission slip or like just ideas for greater peace for the moms that are in it right now?
I think motherhood is such a muscle that we work from when the baby is in utero until they are grown, fully grown with their own families. That muscle of control and release, and release.
Yeah.
And, it's natural that we start out in control because that baby depends on us for everything.
100%.
That infant, that baby, that toddler, even the teenager, they depend on us to help develop their disciplines and their structure and their wirings.
Yeah.
They have to have a mother to do that.
Yeah.
But then gradually they start doing more and more and more on their own.
Yeah.
And we still feel like we control it all.
Yeah.
And we don't. It's such an illusion.
Yeah.
And then even into teenage years and adult years, we're still holding on because when they were toddlers, they were our world. They were our focus.
Yeah.
They were everything we talked about with our friends at the dinner table, with our spouses. And then all of a sudden they become their own people. Yeah. And they're in their own orbit. Yeah. And we're not the center of that orbit at all. And so we have to release. And it's so much easier to say this and do it. But if we can just release all of that control from day one, to the Lord and know that He's got them.
Yeah.
And I think, in a lot of ways, single parenting forced me to do that early because I would have to release you on a weekend without a cell phone, without a pager, without any way to track you, no 360 or find you. I just had to hand you over and say, Father, they are in your hands.
Yeah.
You've got them. I trust that you've got them. I may not see them for 48 hours, 72 hours.
Yeah.
But I know that you've got them.
Yeah. And then later on, when we were a little bit older and our dad primarily lived overseas, you would release us overseas. I've told you now, I can't imagine. Overseas, no cell phones. There was no international calling at that time. Right. If we'd be gone for 10 days, I'd maybe talk to you one time. Yeah. I mean, I tell you all the time, I can't imagine how you did that. I know how it felt for me, but I can't imagine how it felt for you. But it's so crazy. I think as you're saying that, I just want to maybe if I can just speak to my friends who are in this, because I agree with you. It's so easy to say. And also it is paralyzing to do as you're talking. And I'm living through that season right now. My chest is tightening and I want to honor that is hard. I want to honor that that's difficult because you're right. We have to do it the whole time. As they're infants, we're supposed to be holding and releasing. But I think you sort of live in a bubble for most of, hopefully, if nothing is crazy hard or weird or strange, you can kind of live in a bubble of it's us, it's me and you, and I cultivate your life and I lead you and I'm your mom and I do this. And then it really is genuinely all of a sudden they're gone and you think this is what was supposed to happen the whole time.
Right.
This was actually the point.
Is this a joke?
Is this a joke? I mean, since we paused the podcast, I'll just give you guys a pulling the curtain up. Since we paused the podcast, last fall and came back this spring, I tell people all the time, I feel overnight we became pseudo empty nesters. And one of our kiddos who's an adult moved out into his own apartment, which is beautiful and so healthy. And the other, our second, Glory, which you might have heard on the podcast, she went to college early. And so literally overnight we went from 4 to 2. And then our 2 that are here are really independent and really busy. And so most mornings, our house is quiet. They get themselves to school. Most afternoons, it's just Nick and I here. A lot of nights for dinner, it's just us here. Weekends, forget about it. Right. The house is a tomb. And I obviously knew this was coming, but I think the way God wrote our story, it happened surprisingly fast. It just it did. I mean, Glory went to college early. We didn't know she was going. And anyways, I just hold for any of you that are maybe in this season, or maybe you've released one or you're getting ready to release one. We also didn't have a single kid where we had so far, we haven't had a single kid where we've had that normative senior year release. We've never had that. So I'm I think some of that process helps you, and we haven't had that process. So instead it's just been release. Right. And you're what's happening? But it's paralyzing, and also it's the way it's supposed to be, which leads me back to this idea that peace, wholeness, biblical shalom is possible even when things feel different, even when things feel off, even when they feel fractured. It's just a gift. I want to talk a little bit about your work with single moms. So, inspired by your years and all that God did in and through you, you have started Seen Moms, which I want you to tell us a little bit about Seen Moms. But I want to see if there are any kind of threads you can capture of man, I've now walked with so many different women through chaotic or hard or sad circumstances. These are some things that I noticed that serve them or help them. But first, tell us about Seen Moms.
Yeah, I would love to. Seen Moms is a nonprofit community. It's really a coaching community based on the coaching that I received from Go and Tell Gals. And our goal is to gather communities around the table of single moms and care for their kids while they have time at the table over a hot meal.
Yeah.
Hear an inspiring speaker every month. It's a monthly gathering. And then the coaches at their table coach them up to sharpen. SEEN stands for sharpen, equip, encourage to next steps. So it's just an encouragement tool and an equipping tool, but also a place with women just like them. Because when I was in those years of single momming, I had one or two, but there weren't any networks. There weren't any areas where I felt seen by other people or seen by God.
Yeah.
And so it's based on, the verse in Genesis 16 with 13 with Hagar.
Yeah.
And how God saw her in the midst of her singleness.
Yeah.
So that's what SEEN Moms is. As we've grown, we have 3 chapters now here in the Low Country. And as we've grown those chapters, I've been able to see a full spectrum of moms from struggles.
Yeah.
And things that they're walking through that are really horrific to some victory.
Yeah.
And so I think when I see victory, it can look so differently. It doesn't look like they got a house, a car, a job, or remarried. It's not tangible things, but it's joy and hope.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I see when I feel like a mom is starting to make it is when they start to give back.
Come on.
When they start to serve, when they offer something that they have.
Yeah.
Like 2 of the moms have started a mom swap page, where they hand over things.
Yeah.
Several of the moms have offered their professional services, whether it's photography or something that they do to other single moms.
Yeah.
So when I see that giving back, it gets you, outside of yourself, outside of your own circumstances. I know that they're not as myopic. They're not looking inward.
Yeah.
As we all,
can be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to something I learned from my mom, our Nana, who had some hard years when my dad was in a wheelchair, paralyzed, and I would find her just day after day caring for him, doing all the things for him, and I said, "How are you so happy?" And she said, "Debbie, there's always people worse off than me."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, I think this is pretty bad." But when, as a single mom, and you're in that situation, and you can say, I'm going to help somebody who's a step behind me. Yeah. Then that's life. That's fruit.
100%. It's not even like minimizing your own pain. Just saying like, right here, I've got some victory and authority and capacity. Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. An honorable mention about Nana. My favorite quote about Nana of motherhood. I mean, there's a lot of good Nana quotes. Some are hilarious.
Not
and
quotable.
Some are deeply spiritual. But my favorite Nana quote ever is when Katie and I can't even remember, Katie and I were talking to her, not near the end of her life, but like definitely the last decade. And we wanted to ask her some questions about motherhood. And we said, what was your favorite season of motherhood? And do you remember what she said?
When she was able to, when we all were in school.
So and she could go play golf. We were like, Nana, what was your favorite? I mean, my Nana was like, her name's Betty. Like, she was just like, such a Nana, so loving, so patient, so
always
caring,
in the home,
always in the home, always providing things. But we said, what was your favorite season of motherhood? And she said, well, I would say when they all got in school, because then I could go play golf. And I have never been. I was like, yeah, that's good. Which, by the way, I'm trying to get you into our golf season. Yeah, I think this is our time. Yeah, because
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
I have a theory that golf is the new Pilates.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think there's a connection. Anyhow, okay, here's my last question. If you could kind of like almost prophetically vision cast, like what does a woman, a mother living in Shalom look like? Like what are some ways that you would describe that? Like even speak life over, hey, this is what your day could look like. These are some things that might fill your time, or like, here's what it might look like. Not devoid of chaos, not devoid of pain, but like, here's what Shalom could look like.
I would say finding the place where you're most secure as a mom and as a woman of God. And then living fully into that. So practically speaking, that means that you really search deep down within to find out, like, how am I wired to mother, to parent? And what does that look like? Not looking to the gram or to anything else. But really, like, what does that look like for me? And then practicing that, like, in some practical ways. Like, does that mean showing up for school lunches? Does that mean going to the park and swinging on the swings? Does that mean teaching them how to do a budget when they're teenagers? You know, it can be a 1,000 different ways depending on how you're wired. So and then good. Like actually living into that, doing it and feeling secure about it. So that you say, okay, I did that. Now what's next, God? What else do you want me to do? What else does this child need? And that's another thing, just knowing that every child is different. I didn't always do that well. I parented from a cookie cutter approach.
I do not think that's true.
100%.
I think you parented us all really differently, and I think you still do. I think you still are really good.
Well, I hope I do that better now. Got many decades behind me of learning.
Even yesterday we were talking and I was like, hey, just FYI, remember, I'm the daughter you call about this. Like this is my thing, you know, like, which you're so good at. I feel like we always joke, the three of us, that we get like the best different sides of you. Like, I feel like Katie gets your like vision, spiritual, and Caroline gets your fun, and I get like strategic coachy. It's like fun. Like we get like different versions of you for what we need too, you know? It's really sweet.
Did I do that when you were 3 and 6? Maybe not.
But, I don't know. Maybe.
But you learn and give yourself grace for the seasons when you're not doing it well or not doing it how the Lord would want you to do it. There's a lot of grace there. Because listen to you. You only remember the good parts.
I do.
You don't really remember the times that, you know, I went off the rails.
No, and also when I do remember those, I think they're funny. Like I certainly don't hold those against you, you know. I mean, I do feel, I've told you, I feel like I can look back on my childhood with like a very glittering glow of wild grace for what you were up against, and mostly just thinking like, how was she able to do any of this? Like, how was she able to you were like in ministry and volunteering and working full time, and no one was in your corner like coaching you or telling you you're the girl for the job. Like, no one was encouraging you or necessarily like spurring you on, and you were like, well, I'm gonna still go be obedient to the Lord and like keep seeking his presence. I always tell you, I don't know how you did laundry without watching TV on your phone. I don't know how really anyone does laundry without watching a little Survivor episode with their headphones in. I'm like, you were just out there listening to the radio, I guess. I don't know. That's a hot
We did have
tip
TV. We just didn't have.
You just didn't have it on your phone. If you're not watching a little Survivor episode or The West Wing or like The Office or something, whatever is your thing on your phone with your headphones in while you do the dishes, what are you doing? If you got kids that you need to hear them, just put one headphone in, you know, but like we should all be doing that. Unless you really need quiet and then protect your mental health, you know?
But I hope the moms and the listeners really hear that love in your voice and remember that whatever you do wrong right now, your kids, there's going to be a lot of grace in the years to come. Because of all, they're focused on themselves.
100%.
They're not really watching
100%
you. So
not in their 20s.
Right.
In their 20s, and I'm not even saying this about us. I'm just saying about what I'm noticing. In their 20s, they're going to be thinking they have reinvented the wheel and that they know how to do it. And that and so then they're going to definitely think you're wrong. In fact, Glory just went to college and one of her classes was parent-child relations. And before she went to her first day of class, I said, I want you to know you are definitely going to think I did something wrong every single class. Every time you hear about like best practices, I said, you're going to be right. I did do something wrong. Right. But I said, but then this cool thing is going to happen in your 30s when you actually start to make your own colossal mistakes. It's not even in your 20s because most of us can like think we're doing it right for a little bit. But like when you actually start to fail and when your kids start to sin and when you start to realize like, man, I'm doing the best I can and I'm still messing up, that's when you're going to turn to your parents and be like, yeah, you were doing the best you could. You know, and hopefully we all are still trying. So good. Thank you. Thank you for the peace you exhibit. Thank you for the peace you bring to my motherhood. Thank you for your spiritual motherhood of so many of us. And thank you so much for seeing moms and the way you're paying it forward for those women.
Thank you. Thank you for your grace.
Nothing to forget.
And for the 1,000 things you don't see or remember.
Will you pray us out and just pray a blessing of peace over any mom or any future mom maybe listening to this?
Sure. I would love to. Father God, I just thank you so much for your words that lead and guide us, even when we don't know that that's what's guiding us, or even when we can't grasp the exact word, that if we lean into you and if we hear your words through song or through worship or through a message or through a podcast and something sticks, then we can take that to you. We can drill it down for ourselves. We can know exactly how you've wired us and that you didn't make any mistakes, that we are each uniquely made in your image, but we're uniquely made. So God, I thank you for unique and creative moms who look 1,000 different ways, who don't look like the one mom that we have in our head, but look any way that you want us to be. But I thank you for the compassion and the tenderness that you wired in us that's there for each one of us. And I thank you for how we're able to use that for the next generation. So just help us live into that more, God. Help each of us shake off the sin or the problems or the past mistakes, and help us press into more, the more that you have for us. And we'll thank you and give you all the praise for it. In Jesus' name, amen.
In Jesus' name, amen.